Here we go. So I haven't seen the Barbie movie, but I've heard a lot of things about it. A lot of bad things. That it's filled with strong feminist messaging, which would be right in line with what I do on this channel, pointing out propaganda in art and entertainment media. But I can't bring myself to do it, not even with a bootleg, because I already took one for the team when I went to go see The Little Mermaid, a decision that even now, months later, I still regret. But I was intrigued by this story in Unilad, women on social media breaking up with their boyfriends after watching the Barbie movie. The article reads as follows.
Unless you've been living under a rock for the past few weeks, you may be fully aware that Barbie mania has well and truly gripped the globe. If you're yet to watch it, an official synopsis explains, Barbie and Ken are having the time of their lives in the colorful and seemingly perfect world of Barbie Land. However, when they get a chance to travel to the real world, they soon discover the joys and perils of living among humans.
Skipping ahead.
It's also going down incredibly well with viewers, so much so that some women are even vowing to ditch their boyfriends if they don't agree with the movie's feminist message. The craze seems to have taken off over on TikTok, where one user said bluntly, "Take your boyfriend to Barbie. If he doesn't understand the movie, dump him." A fellow TikToker warned, if you're dating a man and he doesn't like the Barbie movie, you need to break up with him, to which a woman replied, agreed, he's not enough for you. Someone else suggested it could be a way to test if your other half is really right for you, posting, "I think taking your boyfriend to Barbie should be a relationship test to decide if he's a good long-term partner."
The article goes on, but it's more of the same. Women saying that they're going to use Barbie as a litmus test on their boyfriends. I'll try to remember to post the link in the description. Now, at a glance, it seems unbelievable. There's no way that there are women out there willing to end their relationships over a movie. It's just people talking crap over the internet. But I'm inclined to believe it. Speaking for my community, I've seen some women terminate great relationships over less. There's Tia Mowry, now 44 years old, who couldn't explain why she left a perfectly good marriage to her actor husband Corey Hardick, the father of her 2 children, a man she's been with since the age of 19, who was her first and only.
Because some people, when you say, "Oh, my husband and I are going our separate ways," they go, "Oh no,
Yeah.
oh, that's sad." But you actually see this as
a celebration.
A celebration.
I
in the
really
beginning.
do. I look at it as one of my friends, she sent this beautiful letter to me from a woman who got a divorce. And it's all about, this perspective, in my opinion, and just changing the narrative. My marriage was a success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like a curriculum when you're in college or high school, right? You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you're creating. And I was able to create with Corey some beautiful, amazing children. Yeah. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation, there's a celebration. So that's basically, how I'm looking at it now. And I feel like people when they look at marriage, that success equals longevity. But no, at the end of the day, it's, are they happy? Are they thriving? Are they growing? And I feel like that is what is most important. It's not about staying in something because however long you are in that situation, that equals success. It's about really, again, are you happy? Because life is really short.
Yeah.
Then there's this dingbat who said she terminated an engagement to a great man, a man whom she said was perfect, again, for reasons she couldn't explain.
So earlier this year, I ended a relationship and cut off an engagement from a great man. He was a good man. He loved God. He was a praying man. He loved and adored me. He was there for me. He was handsome. He was well educated. He didn't have any kids. He checked all the boxes. But there was still something missing. And I just knew that I could not go through with this marriage. There was just something that did not connect. I felt that there should have been a connection between he and I in order for me to be his wife. And so I cut off the engagement. And it was so difficult because he was a good man. It's easy when a person is not good. You can justify why you cut things off, but when a person is truly a good person, it's hard to explain. So I found myself trying to explain it to family and friends, and they were asking me a whole bunch of questions that, I could not say, exactly why, other than the fact that I just did not feel the connection. There was something that was not there that I needed to be there in order for this to be my husband. And so I stopped trying to explain it, and I just trusted my decision, and I went on. But then I got an epiphany, and it was just like, have you ever been shoe shopping and you saw a nice pair of shoes and it's like, ooh, I love the color, I love the style, the heel is the right size, and it's a reasonable price, like it's on sale and it's a good shoe. But then when you approach the shoe, you see that it's a size 6 and you need a size 7. Does it take away from the fact that the shoe is a good shoe? Does it take away from the fact that you're getting a great deal for the quality? Does it take away from the fact that the heel is still the right size? It doesn't matter. All of that still makes the shoe is still good. But if it's not your size, it's not the shoe for you. And so that is what I had to accept. Yes, he was a good man. But what that feeling was is that he was not a great fit for me. It didn't take away from who he was, but it was just confirmation that he was not a good fit for me. And that leads me to say that some of us are trying to force relationships when we know they don't fit. It doesn't mean that the person is not good. It doesn't mean that they are not good-hearted people. It just means that they're not a good fit for you. So free them up. Don't continue to settle for things that you know is going to cause discomfort in the future. Me purchasing a size 6 shoe when I wear a 7 is discomfort. Don't do it.
Exactly. The f*** are you talking about?
But I don't want to pick on the women in my community exclusively. There's this woman here, a 42-year-old single woman out of the UK that did the same thing. She ended an engagement to a man she called her soulmate because she was envious of her friends, her single friends, and wanted to be out there like them having a hot girl summer, all while believing her ex-fiancé would be there for her once she was done playing the field. And of course, he wasn't. It's a really good article. I'll post a link to that as well in the description. And then you have women like Keke Palmer, Rihanna, Naomi Osaka, and Ebony K. Williams that have all chosen to have children as single mothers. Now, Ebony is trying to be a first-time mom at age 40 by going to a donor bank. Rihanna, Naomi, and Keke had their kids with their boyfriends, but it's fair to assume they're not going to marry those men. Having a boyfriend for them was simply a means to an end, the end being the baby. Then there's the curious case of Simone Biles. You know Simone Biles, the greatest female gymnast of all time. Now, she went out and did things the right way. She got married at age 26 because she prioritized marriage at a young age, something we rarely see in this generation. She didn't run out and get pregnant by some random idiot or waste her prime years going through a slow phase. As soon as she found a good man, she married him. She didn't waste her time wondering if she could do better. Now, I don't know if she plans on having kids, but she definitely married before she carried. And you'd think upon hearing the news that people would celebrate her decision, right? A young woman being a positive role model for young girls. People would love that, right? No, to the contrary, she was ridiculed. People mocked her. They attacked her for having a small ceremony. They said a woman of her wealth and stature should have had a large wedding. They didn't like the fact that her dress only cost $119, that her shoes were $35. They even criticized her hair. They said she didn't do a good job of laying down her edges. You know, trivial crap. But my conjecture is, they're really upset with her because she did what they should have done when they were her age. That's how this feminist-influenced society treats young women who decide to marry early. They criticize them, while simultaneously cheering on those who had kids out of wedlock or leave perfectly good marriages. They don't believe or advocate for healthy family practices. And if you want to hear more about Simone Biles and her marriage and the reaction to it, check out this video. It's some of my best work. But the main reason why I'm inclined to believe some women would end their relationship over a movie is because I've seen them do worse. Because some women routinely consume bad information. Every day that I log on social media, I see these influencers, or whatever they call themselves, giving terrible relationship advice by reinforcing the nonsense that the women that listen to them already believe, and women taking it as gospel, to the extent that the people peddling it have gotten rich, even though the advice they give them only serves to keep them single. But as bad as they are, they're just reinforcing the same nonsense that comes out of the modern church. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that some modern women are terminating their relationships because of the Barbie movie, because that isn't the worst idea that I've seen them come up with. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of the underlying intents of the film, to deepen the wedge between men and women, to aid in the gender war. And with that, I'm going to end things here. But before I go, follow me on my other social media platforms. And if you like this video, share the link on your pages. But more importantly, check out the other videos in my library. I'm sure there's something there you will enjoy. Here's a preview of my latest work. Before I get started, I want to open up with a scripture reference that I believe is apropos given the discussion we're going to have. It's Matthew chapter 7 verses 15 through 20, and it reads as follows. Beware of false prophets who come disguised as harmless sheep, but are really vicious wolves. You can identify them by their fruit, that is, by the way they act. Can you pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? A good tree produces good fruit and a bad tree produces bad fruit. A good tree can't produce bad fruit and a bad tree can't produce good fruit. Skipping down to verse 20, just as you can identify a tree by its fruit, you can identify people by their actions. Now the context is about false prophets, but the principle is universal, which is good comes from good, bad comes from bad. Grapes don't come from thorns, figs don't come from thistles. Like creates after like. And people in general are the same way. You see, actions reflect character, and people with high moral integrity don't exude poor behavior. Not that anyone is perfect. They sin because they're human, but you don't see them moving out of malicious intent. If they do something wrong, it's because they've made a mistake, or they had a lapse in judgment. But they generally have regard for other people's feelings, not because they made a conscious effort to hurt someone. They're not devious, nor do they try to serve their best interest at someone else's expense. They're not mean-spirited or do mean-spirited stuff. Now, I want you to keep all of those attributes in mind as I talk about Jenny and Mia, because somebody made a meme about them and it says, "These two are the worst women in movie history, and I'm glad they died."
Damn!
Obviously, the creator of the meme is referring to the characters, not the actresses who play them. And for those who don't know, Jenny is the one on the left from Forrest Gump, and the one on the right is Mia from the Best Man franchise, both of whom did some disrespectful stuff in their respective movies, which is why the memer said he was glad that both characters died. Now, I thought it was hilarious, and I shared it, because, albeit extreme, I understand the sentiment. And while most laughed along with me, there were quite a few who disagreed. And that's largely because of the way that Jenny and Mia, in spite of what they did, were portrayed in their movies. Both were shown as sympathetic figures. They were thoughtful, kind, supportive, inspirational, and nurturing. They weren't bad people. They were good, kind-hearted women that did something evil. Somehow, they were good trees who bore bad fruit. They were thorns that brought forth grapes, thistles that brought forth figs. Good women that did something horrible. Now, their movies try to justify their actions by leading you to believe these were done in response to circumstances beyond their control.
No.
Which is why a lot of people, specifically women, sympathize with them and take umbrage with the meme, because they see Jenny and Mia as victims, not women acting maliciously. That and the fact that both characters suffered emotional deaths while in the good graces of their sympathetic husbands who loved them enough to look past their transgressions. All of that leads people to believe that what they did wasn't bad, or at least not enough to say they weren't worthy of love. But that's Hollywood. Women who do what they did don't exist because ratchet behavior doesn't coincide with honorable character, and vice versa. Going back to the scripture reference I gave out earlier, good trees don't produce bad fruit. But even if the characters were moving maliciously, or with no regard for the men they were hurting, they would still be portrayed as sympathetic figures. Because women are rarely held accountable in entertainment media. There's always an attempt to justify what they do, especially in regards to promiscuity. They're either celebrated for embracing their independence, doing what men have been doing for years, or they're victims of exploitation. My point is, regardless of what a female character does in a movie, she'll always be portrayed as the good or sympathetic character. And it's like I say all the time, entertainment media is more than just entertainment, it's propaganda through art. The stories are often fake, but the messages behind the stories are always real. For good or bad, better or worse, the purpose is to influence your mind, to change or challenge your way of thinking. And I believe the characters of Jenny and Mia were created to convince men to accept repugnant behavior from women, to convince a man that a woman's actions doesn't reflect her character, that even though she's done something rotten, she's still a good person. So they took these characters, gave them the personality traits of an ideal wife, and coupled them with the actions of evil women.
Continue, please.
They want you to believe that grapes come from thorns and figs come from thistles, that a good tree can bear bad fruit. And that's all I have to say about it. What do you have to say about it? Leave a comment in the comment section and let's have a conversation. Okay, so you've heard me say this a million times. So if you like this video, please give it a like and leave a comment in the comments section and share the link on your social media platforms. And if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you'll get alerts every time I upload new content. This is the Layman's Journal. Thanks for stopping by. I'm out.
Hell! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
And while I do appreciate you sharing, subbing, and leaving comments, I'm going to ask that you take another step further in keeping the channel going. I set up a membership plan for those of you who would like to offer further support in the development of this channel. It's not anything expensive or special, I'm just asking for 99 cents a month, which is enough for me to continue doing the work that I do here.
Help me! Help me! Help me!
In the future, there will be additional tiers with added benefits, but for right now, I just need your support so that I can cover basic costs. So please, sign up so I can continue bringing you awesome content. This is the Laymans Journal. I'm out.